Welcome back to Sister Scoot, where we are covering our top 3 news topics of the week. Our very first one is big news regarding Doomsday and Secret Wars, and essentially the fact that it's not going to be the reboot that I think we all thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Brad Winderbaum has been making his rounds, as we all know, with Daredevil coming out this week. So he basically said, no, we're not going to do a total reboot. And it's basically impossible to reboot something as big as the MCU. So he was like, we're not going to do that. So it's going to be kind of a softer reboot. I do think that if you're reading between the lines, I think he is saying we are going to make some massive, massive changes after Secret Wars, which I think surprises no one. There were massive, massive changes after Endgame, too. You can't have that level of a film and not have serious ramifications, but it may just not be the same level that I think we all thought it could go to in terms of completely resetting everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all probably fell into a little bit of a hyperbole where we were like, oh, yes, it's all going to get redone. Obviously, I think this isn't really news when you think about the fact, if you really pull it apart, the idea of Secret Wars is 616 is kind of clashing together to make Battleworld with a bunch of other universes. Of course, we're not going to entirely be rebooting 616 because we're still going to have characters from that timeline. That universe. I don't want to, that universe. Let's just stay there. But so I think like when you're looking at it under the guise of everything, it just seemed like, yeah, we're starting everything over. But I guess really, if you pull it apart, this isn't, like I said, news, because if you really gave any thought, which we weren't, but if you did, this answer was right there.
I mean, look, I'll be honest. I don't like to think too deeply about Secret Wars because, as excited as I am, it's the multiverse, and I try not to think too deeply about the multiverse whenever I can avoid it. So,
Exactly. So I think this makes sense regardless. I mean, it's still a great way to bring in the mutants, bring in other heroes, do what you need to do, and soft launch and reboot the MCU. Yes, but again, you're not going to like not have Sam as Captain America. You're not going to have your Scarlet Witch. You're not going to have the characters that are still here and will still be there from 616.
yeah.
But moving forward, I'm so excited about this one. I saw this one and I was I don't have words for it. Matthew Lillard is going to be in Born Again season 2. I love this man. Obviously, Scream franchise, Scooby-Doo. That's where I know him from. Those two.
Scooby-Doo. I mean, Shaggy, the OG. Like, there's nothing better. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah. But I mean, who's he gonna be? Like, what? Villain. I don't even know why I'm asking that. He's going to be the villain, and we all know that. But I'm so happy that he's joining the MCU.
Yeah, he's another one. Like, we talk a lot about Giancarlo Esposito as like someone who has really made a name for himself as a villain actor and has done it at an extremely high level consistently. I think Matthew Lillard has also kind of, whether it's a villain or just someone extremely quirky, kind of that like space in between there. He lives there, he breathes there, and he excels there. And I'm excited to see like who they bring or what character they choose to have him bring to life, because it'll be interesting the way that he acts with so much, I feel like, energy and like, again, like quirkiness against Matt's like very stoic personality. I think is going to be like a really interesting dichotomy to watch those two, Matthew and, oh my gosh, why am I blanking? Charlie go against each other in terms of like acting. I think that's going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, and I think, this even goes back to his roots in Scream. He does such a good job at kind of playing the switch note kind of character where you think they're one type of person or they're one type of character and they turn out to be quite literally the killer. So like and that's not a spoiler, my friends, just so you know, that
like
movie
20
came out.
Years, folks.
It's been longer than that. I'm pretty sure they just celebrated like 30 something years of Scream. So it's been a long time. There's like 6 of them now. But regardless, I think because he can play that type of character so well, I see him playing it to a T in a Daredevil kind of idea. So I'm really excited about this. I can't wait. Knowing that they're already filming is extremely exciting to me because
I know.
I mean, to me, it's like, great, we're going to get this a lot sooner than some of the others. We're kind of getting into a TV cadence. I think we talked about that maybe last week or the week before. That's the direction they want to go.
Well,
So-
they're talking about annual. Like, they want to do, like, you know
Right.
how, like, you would say, like, oh, it's the fall. Like, This Is Us is coming back. Like, that's one that I just, like, remember was, like, iconic.
I was like, wow, that really came out for you.
It was
You're
like,
this
honestly,
is
that,
us.
like, well, like, I would go back to school and then I would cry every, like, Tuesday or Monday or whatever. Like, I was like, that is part of just, like, the whole experience.
Me
like,
with
you
RuPaul,
know-
but yes.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their, like, iconic show where they're like, this is the show.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what they're kind of getting at. It's like every, spring now we're going to be expecting a new Daredevil season, assuming that it goes really well and blah, 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 all those things. I will say one other thing that I saw, and this is a rumor, I haven't confirmed it, but since we're talking about Daredevil season 2, someone said that Kristen Ritter is now in New York, which is very interesting considering what started last week. So that is a rumor. I did not verify that, but I thought I'd toss it out since we are talking all things next season of Born Again. So verify that as you will.
Interesting. Well, anybody but Iron Fist. That's all I gotta say.
You haven't even seen the worst of it yet, sister.
I know, which is why I don't even, if that's my sentiment. But the last one that we have, I feel like we've talked about this before. It's one of those that's been kind of a reoccurring topic, but nothing's moved forward half the time. And that's a second season for Hawkeye. I think this is so interesting because we haven't really seen much of him. No, we haven't seen him. Actually, let's clarify that. We haven't seen him. Yeah, since his first season. He is still an OG Avenger. I mean, he's not off the board. Yes, there was kind of the whole mantle thing with Kate, but it wasn't a absolute permanent thing, I would say. It's not like he's gone. Let's say it that way. It's not like he is fully retired, gone. That man's retired 17 times. He'll be back. So I'm not excited about season 2, but like, are we actually going to get it? I'm tired of being dangled in front of.
Yeah, no, I hear you because I do think it's been talked about a lot over the last, 3+ years. That's so horrifying to say.
Didn't it come out in 2021?
Yeah, so a little over 3 years. Yeah,
That's
I don't
disgusting.
love that. But
I hate
the
when
passage
we do this
of
little
time,
timeline
folks.
update. Yeah, I hate that though.
I know. I feel like every week we're like, and an anniversary of this one. And I'm like, but I hate that.
Yeah.
But I will say I am excited. I really liked Hawkeye. I think if you go back to our year in review that year, I think for both of us, that was either our top show or like our number 2 show. We both really, really liked it. And that was an action-packed year, 2021. That was our first year back. They put out a lot of content. So it had competition. It's not like, oh, what was your top Marvel movie of 2024? I guess it was Deadpool and Wolverine because it was the only, MCU one. But it also was a good movie, so it earned it. But you know what I'm saying? But I will say, like, I feel like this is the most concrete from Marvel update that we've gotten with Brad Winderbaum, again, because he's out here promoting Daredevil and people are asking him about other things. He basically was saying, yeah, we're hoping to find a way to do it. We're trying to find like the right story to tell for these characters. And I think that's, though it's not a concrete, yes, we're working on it, it is a solid update to say, like, we haven't forgotten about it. It's on our radar. We're just trying to find the right story to tell, but that also makes me happy because they're not forcing a story. They're trying to make it make sense and be intentional. And so if that takes them another 6 months to a year before they feel like they're ready to do that, annoying, but I'd rather they do that than force something, a round peg into a square hole, to put a metaphor on it. I'm fine with this. I feel like this is a positive update all the way around.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't forget that they're setting Kate up for Young Avengers. They've already started laying that groundwork. So it is important to kind of figure out where that story is going to go, because is it going to be Hawkeye, just Hawkeye, or is it going to be with Kate Bishop? Is she going to be in the show? I mean, I think personally, I feel like you should have them both. I think that makes the most sense. I think they both now hold that mantle, but I think those are questions you have to ask, and where that could fit into her larger storyline at this point. Because quite frankly, we could never see Cliff again. We could never see Clint again. Cliff. I don't know. Honestly, out of the corner of my eye, I was watching Gambit get up behind me, and I was like, whatever's coming out of my mouth is coming out. But we could never see Clint again. And quite frankly, it's not that Hawkeye ended perfectly, but it was enough of a sunset that like we could move on from the character. So I do think, you got to balance that. But yeah, I think that's all I've got for our Sister Scoop this week. You're nodding at me. So that's been this week's Sister Scoop. Make sure you guys are also keeping up with our podcast because we are deep in the trenches of Daredevil Born Again. So as we're talking about season 2, we are obviously covering season 1. And we'll see you guys next week for 3 new Marvel news topics. Bye.